This was the opening of Currents 39 LaToya M. Hobbs Carving Out Time exhibit at the Milwaukee Art Museum, a collection of 5 carved woodings and their prints. The Baltimore-based artist says she carves into wooden canvases to capture the small everyday moments that all humans can relate to, but often take for granted.
I really like how you included your husband, showing how he's involved with the children, showing how he's involved at dinner time.
With Carving Out Time in particular, the piece that's on display right now at the Milwaukee Art Museum, I describe that work as a portrait of my day, so giving you a look into my everyday life as a mother, wife, artist, educator. And it really is to kind of give people a connection to this like everyday lived experiences that sometimes I feel like we take for granted. This piece is a part of a larger series titled Salt of the Earth, and so I'm kind of personifying women as salt. Primarily thinking about salt as a preserver, so thinking about the role that we play and how we preserve our family, our culture, and community. So really an opportunity to talk about my identity as a mother and what that looks like on a day-to-day basis. So next we have the fourth phase, or the fourth scene of the day. This is titled Bedtime for the Boys. And yeah, it's like go time, let's get these kids to bed. So this also kind of represents our ritual as a family. So the boys are bigger, so we don't actually do this as much, but I would always do a bedtime story. My husband would always do some type of roughhousing or playing with the kids. So we kind of combine those things into one scene together. I just feel like I just do what I'm called to do. Some people do work that represents the struggle, which we need that's important. But that's really not I don't know, I just feel like that's not my assignment, so to speak. And I feel like you need a balance. You can't always engage in the treacherous things that are happening in the world. You need some type of balance or some type of break and reprieve from that. And I also really think about that in terms of people who are activists and who are doing work in the community. Sometimes they just need a break from that to tap into joy. And this idea of kind of Black joy and Black resilience is also something that I'm really interested in right now.
It took some time to carve out time, with each wood canvas requiring about 3 months of work.
This is a combination of what I like to call painting and printmaking. So from a more traditional aspect, you think about these pieces as a wood block matrix that's going to be used to create a set of prints or works on paper. So the materials that I use, obviously you need your matrix, or in this case, it's a piece of cherry wood. And so each of these scenes is made up of 3 individual pieces of 8 by 4 foot cherry panels that are being put together to create the whole image. I normally start by painting those wood surfaces black, just like a flat black paint. Then I do a really detailed drawing with a white water-soluble pencil. And then once the drawing is complete, I use my wood carving tools or my wood carving gouges to literally carve away from the surface of the wood. So you see here, there's kind of 2 different textures. There's the lighter marks. Those represent the wood that you would see underneath the paint. So that's literally carved away into the surface. And then the black represents the top of the wood, where you can see the initial layer of paint and also the initial layer of ink once they're rolled up to be printed.
The pieces were acquired by the Milwaukee Art Museum in December of 2023, and the museum is hopeful they will remain a part of the museum's permanent collection.
I really wanted to acquire the works because they were the most incredible example of prints that I had ever seen. So I first saw them in an exhibition in Minneapolis at the High Point Center for Printmaking that Tanikia Word curated, and I saw the last scene of the series. And I had never seen anything that large or that technically skilled, where LaToya makes all these marks that really convey texture and tell the story so effectively. I think that images like this will really expand who sees themselves represented in museums. I really admire the fact that LaToya is presenting her everyday life, so I hope that it resonates with people who come to the museum and they can see their own lives reflected back to them in this space.
I often describe my work as universal and specific. So the specificity comes from the fact that I'm showing you aspects of my life and the people that are around me, but it's universal in that a lot of the themes like anybody can relate to, whether you're a parent, mother, white, black. I feel like the work, like my blackness is not a barrier for you to be able to relate to my work.
The exhibit runs through January 5th, 2025.